and then what they believe and what they taught. This always one fellow, very bright, brilliant fellow, he was only 32 years old. He spent 2 months in our home. My grandfather's home was an open house for all these spiritual people. He used to give discourses on Mandukya Upanishad, Karikas. Boy, it was really something. He fascinated me. I was only 14, 15 years old. And then his only interest at that time was to save 10,000 rupees and put it in a bank for his old age. What is this? This fellow says that there is no death, what is he doing with it? Why is he interested in collecting 10,000 rupees to put in a postal savings bank to take care of his old age? These things always intrigued me. But I never called them hypocrites. Something funny here with these people, What is wrong, That started me, you see, on this kind of a search on my own, These wants, everything I want is what they wanted me to want. See, do I have any wants of my own? All the thoughts I have is what they have put in my head here. I don't have any thoughts of my own, not one thought. Even this fact, you see, I realized when I was very young, but it never occurred to me that this was also a want. Not to want what the others wanted me to want, and find out, is there anything which I can call my own want? It never occurred to me that this also was a want, like any other want.
It's almost, I mean by that.
See, you tell yourself that you are not an enlightened man, and suddenly after enlightenment you tell yourself that you are an enlightened man.
But both statements are nonsense.
Both statements are nonsense.
Totally.
Totally. Because it's the same knowledge that I have. It's the knowledge that creates a state here and tells me that I am not enlightened. Because in Bhagavad Gita, you see, and I always describe the state as the state of a stone. You see, it's in a stone image, but that's not a living man. And that's the impression I get from those verses in Gita. The characteristics of an enlightened man, Siddha who is established himself in the seat of whatever it is called. And suddenly you tell yourself that you are an enlightened man. It is the same knowledge. See, this was my question, you see. When I found that I was enlightened, I wanted to be in the state of Buddha, I wanted to be a Buddha, I wanted to be like Krishnamurti, I wanted to be this, that and the other. One day suddenly I said to myself, I am in the same state as Buddha. What the hell you are telling yourself? You are kidding yourself. You have not moved from square one. See, yesterday you told yourself you would like to be in the state of Buddha, you want to be Buddha, you are not enlightened. Suddenly you have come into something, an extraordinary experience or a state of being or whatever you want to call it, and kid yourself that you are an enlightened man. What's the difference? The same knowledge is operating here. And so that went on and on and on like a whirlpool, So there is no such, I did not even complete the sentence. There is no such thing as self, so there is no way you can resolve this problem. There is no question of discovering yourself, There is no self there first of all, and then there is no self to discover, there is no self to realize, there is nothing there to be enlightened, there is nothing there to be transformed. Krishnamurti's phrase, radical transformation, there is nothing there to be transformed. Naturally you will throw the question at me, how do you know that there is nothing there to be transformed? My answer to that is, don't ask that question. If you were there in that situation, you would never ask that question, is this part of my knowledge? What is it that tells you that you are not enlightened, that there is I knew what created this self in me. Don't ask that question. If you were there in that situation, you would never ask that question, is this part of my knowledge? What is it that tells you that you are not enlightened, that there is I knew what created this self in me, So I do not see any I there other than the first person singular pronoun, period, full stop, full period for me. That has created this entity here, call it by whatever name you like, and the constant use of memory to maintain this identity.
We have to work very hard to maintain.
Yes, that's why I don't dream, So you don't have to sleep for so many hours. I sleep like a cat, the total maybe 5 hours, 6 hours in the span of 24. There is no such thing as I question even the 24-hour span. It is much longer. You see, all measurements are arbitrary. all measurements are arbitrary. My grandmother, was the first one who made me clearly understand this Maya. Shankara's, my professor gave lectures on Maya and the doctrine of Maya. We read volumes and volumes on the subject. My grandmother said, an uneducated, she knew only how to read and write, that's all. She was not a philosopher. She was not teaching philosophy, but she listened to all this crap in her household, to every philosopher, every Swami, every teacher that visited our home and talked about these things. She said, the word is the illusion or Maya. Maya is to measure, she said. See, there must be a point here. The moment the thought takes its birth there, you have the point is created there. In relationship with this point, you are measuring things, experiencing things. So anything you experience is an illusion. But the world is not an illusion. This is not an illusion. Somebody comes with a pistol and wants to shoot you, then you don't call that an illusion. You either duck or run away or kill him or do some such thing, But you don't say that's an illusion. The Maya,
the wrong moment for discussion.
Yes, the measure, Maya means is to measure. So the measurement is possible only when there is a point there. So in relationship with that we measure. So anything you experience is an illusion. So you have to question even the reality there. Where is the reality? All these scientists talking about it's absolute rubbish. There must be a space. Physicist met me in America. I think he must have been trying hard to get his Nobel Prize. He was talking to me about space. There is no such thing as space. There is no such thing as time. There is no such thing as matter. I know all that, But assuming for a moment that there is no such thing as space, how can you make love to your wife, I asked. He stopped in his tracks and said, it never occurred to me. It never occurred to me. No, I'm not saying anything against making love to your wife. There must be a space there. Use thought, it becomes a pleasure movement. I am not saying anything against that, but don't talk all this nonsense to me. There is no space. The three-dimensional space does not exist. The eye does not look at things in a three-dimensional way, let alone the fourth dimension. There is no such thing as space. Don't talk all that nonsense. The metaphysicians talked about that everlastingly, and I was fed on that kind of a bunk. Now you are a scientist, you are telling me the same story. What exactly do you mean by that? So if we accept the fact that all measurements are arbitrary, it's all right with me. So your whole scientific thinking collapses. The problems, nobody could help me. Nobody. I haven't learned anything either from secular or spiritual teachers. Nothing to learn. I have not, I'm just a regular guy, just an ordinary man, you see. So my wanting to be something other than this very ordinariness was my problem, become something extraordinary. I don't go around the world telling that I'm an ordinary man, pat on my back and tell myself you are just an ordinary man. I'm using that just to show that I'm just an ordinary man, just a regular guy, to use an American expression. And the regular guy, the ordinary man is something extraordinary. You will be surprised. There is nobody like you anywhere on this planet. Nobody like you. You are wanting to be something, somebody else is really the problem. What is there is something extraordinary. I tell you.
Well,
it expresses itself in an extraordinary way.
Yes.
Between the mad fellow and me, the line of demarcation is very, very thin. You see, they have given up, we are pushing them to become part of this horrible value system we have. So we are the ones that are responsible for pushing them to suicide. See, they have given up. They don't want to be part of this society. They don't want to fit into the structure, the framework which we have placed before ourselves. The framework is built on the foundation of the teachings of those religious teachers. Even our legal codes of conduct is nothing but a warty outgrowth of the religious thinking, ethical codes of us all. You know? What's the difference? I am not against the law, I don't break the laws. When once you are not caught up, this I want to make it very clear. Between the right and the wrong, the good and bad, the good and evil, you will not do anything that is wrong. Never.
That,
Bob Dylan said, if you're going to live outside the law, you have to be honest.
No, you can never be outside of law. How can you be outside of law?
The law-
You are not
the
in
legal
you are
law.
not in conflict with the law. If I break the law, I pay the price. You see, but I have no interest in breaking the law for my own self interest. You see, you know that is not necessary for me. I am not against those who break the laws. Go ahead. That's why that you will find. Steal but don't get caught.
there a tendency, have you found that there's a looking now a little bit towards that, to learning from the child rather than teaching the child?
It won't work. They have to go through this torture. There is no other way. If they are lucky, somewhere along the line they will learn. It's not only the mother, you see, but
no, it's
the
everybody.
environment, the people, the school,
Everybody.
everywhere, the whole atmosphere. There's not much that we can do about it. So I don't believe in education as a matter of fact. So you have to give them some tools to survive in this world.
Yes.
But anything you do to create an atmosphere of freedom or religion, the environment is not going to work in the long run. So I don't believe in any specialized schools. Because they have to function in this world. That is the world of reality, you see. If we can help them to fit themselves into that framework, then they have to learn, you know. But creating an atmosphere of special kind of an atmosphere,
Special
religious or otherwise special schools, they are very expensive, but we ruin them. They become misfits.
Yes.
It's only rich people that can afford all these schools. You know.
Does that necessarily make them become a misfit? Say it was a Steiner type
We are all
school.
misfits. We are all misfits.
That's
That's
right.
our problem. That's our
How
problem.
would you, yes, how would you single them out?
Problem because we don't question the framework into which we are all trying to fit ourselves into. The framework is false. Yes, we never question that. So we struggle all our lives to fit into that framework. The fear of not fitting into that framework. It does not mean that you should destroy anything, you see, go around destroying everything that is built on the foundation of our framework. You will not be in conflict. The conflict comes to an end. You know. In Chicago, with a person, in a person's house, who happened to be the personal assistant of Cairo.
Ah! You mentioned Cairo in that book too.
Yes, that fellow. She happened to be with him for 12, 13 years.
Really?
So I just sat there and watched her read the poems. That's how I picked up these things. I don't know anything about Palmistry. No. She was with this line, you see, when I am
That's
beginning
the
to
most extraordinary line
and this line going all the way here.
Yep. Oh, that one. Oh, yeah.
Going
All right.
here,
I wonder if it is possible
Now-
to actually get a
Oh, no,
picture.
but
You know, one
of the
Indian
angling it
poemist,
up.
he says
Yeah.
that I will leave behind three
We
people.
have. Different places, but yes. Could you put
What,
it down?
sons
So
or
those who have
He just has
understood
to
what
point
I'm
us in
saying,
this
they will
way,
do
doesn't
harm to me.
Oh, I see.
They'll immortalize you.
If you're going to move, little one, get a change it there.
That's an idea.
Of Jupiter, which is the stability. Then all these others go to this one, which is the finger of, will almost. I will, or I will do it. See, look, see hat lying there, look, see?
You see this one. I don't
This is
know
good. I
why.
have a close-up now.
So if this goes,
What was being meant by that, do you think?
no, you see, that's the tradition that you see.
Ah,
A person cannot die unless he touches people. Assuming for a moment that there is such a thing.
Yeah, but if you
as
have children, you
enlightenment.
touch people. Oh,
Not
oh,
that
and
way.
enlightenment. Oh, I see.
Light 3 lamps and they are on their own.
Oh, I see.
And
yes.
they destroy what I am saying.
I think that might be true.
That's the only touching.
Is that part of the tradition? Then?
Yes, part of the tradition. The disciple destroys the teacher.
I think that's true, of course.
Yes.
That is true.
And they are supposed to fall.
I mean, the disciple, Christian uses the disciple of it.
The
Let's
teacher,
be
the teacher is supposed to fall at the feet of the disciple when once he has attained what the
Yes,
teacher
of
was
course.
trying
Yeah.
to teach him. Huh?
Yeah.
You will touch life at a point where nobody touched before. So I become obsolete, whatever I am saying. In that sense. So I touched
I'm
at a
with you.
life at a point where nobody touched before.
Right.
So everything was out of my system, flushed out of my
Yep.
system. You know?
Yes.
So I used to tell people, if this is a hypothetical situation, if I and Krishnaji were to meet together and discuss, I would silence him in 1 second.
Yes.
In 1 second.
Yes.
But if he said, but sir, this sir, that sir, no,
Mm-hmm.
he's a phony.
Yes.
I agree, I say that is true, but if he says but, no. So that's a hypothetical situation. That's why I say you will touch life at a point where nobody touched before.
I think that
So then I am obsolete.
that's right.
You know,
Where what you're saying is all the past it becomes obsolete anyway.
obsolete.
Anyway, yes.
So I am expressing what is there at this point.
Because you're not teaching a technique.
No,
so
no,
there's
no,
nothing,
no,
nothing can be
nothing,
learned in that
nothing,
way.
nothing.
Yes,
No.
right. Yeah.
He said no teaching, but he created a teaching. A technique was there.
By the way, you know what? I tried with McCoy on this over there. It's called the teaching, and everybody knows it's a stupid thing to say because there's no teaching.
Yeah.
When you're seeing something, you
No
can't be
teacher,
taught
no-
how to see.
no,
You
no.
either see or you don't see anything.
Only Avadut said that, you see, in India. Avadut is one who just wanders, no clothes,
Yes, that's
nothing.
right, sure.
Somebody asked him, what is your teaching? There is no teaching, no teacher, no taught, and he went there. But he did not sit there.
Tell Elizabeth what the amount of luggage you don't carry.
Now I am trying to reduce all my worldly
He
belongings.
takes everything in one bag and all the world. That's his,
That's it, isn't it?
That's correct.
I want to reduce them. So far I have not succeeded. Now you see, all that I possess in this world, all my worldly
All
belongings.
you possessions in the world, there it is.
Before that, at least a bigger one, 25 kilos. 20 kilos.
Yes.
So that is my only wish, Donald.
Yeah.
I want to stop traveling. 60 years of traveling, next year I celebrate. And retire into a cave.
Yes, I hear.
What are the chances of my wish coming true?
Let's have a look.
That's the one and the only wish I have in my life. And there is another thing, you see, one thing I will not do. I will not let any organization go around me. That means destroying everything that I am trying to say. Second thing, I will not thrive on the gullibility and credulity of the people.
Right.
So because I cannot deliver the goods, there is no point, you see,
Yeah.
in taking anything from them. So whatever I have given away.
Yes. Perfect.
All
No point in
the
saying-
money that Valentine left me is gone. So I am left with a little money.
Yep.
So I have to go and sit in a cave. Then I can live like a king in India with the little money I am left with. So there is no need for me to travel.
In what traditional way are you meaning into a cave?
I mean, not literally a cave. But
I know, but then what are you saying?
traveling is enough. You see, I have no message for the
No,
world. I
I
don't
know.
want to liberate people.
I know.
You see, the only reason why I come here is because of the ticket.
You got a ticket round the
Airline
world.
ticket.
Takes you here.
Yes, you may as well.
Yeah.
That's
And
all.
she gets to the plane that says wherever you're going.
Just get out of here, as long as it's in the way of opposite direction.
Traveling at all.
You know that last time we talked about that it had to do with this division that took place in you. But look, underneath this finger, which is the finger of the sun, look at the marvelous star there. See it
Yeah.
on this
Sun.
under the sun
Outer
finger.
sun.
What the hell?
You see here now again. You see here it is straight. It's crazy. Again.
This is why I said earlier, those two lines there, that you'll never ever need more money than is flowing in or whatever you've got. You never
Which two,
will.
these two there?
That line there and that line
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
See, they're flying up from this.
Yes.
This is the finger, the ring finger that people wear rings on. This is the one that I will tell you what to do. This is the one, security, safety.
Yeah.
You know,
The
this is the
two
one,
income.
the flow back. This is the finger of the mind. And see, the last joint is bigger than the other joints. See, most people's are. The last joint is longer than the other ones.
Three lines here.
There's no doubt about that. No doubt about that at the end of it.
49th year. You see? And then this is a new line started.
Yeah. And it goes on forever.
Ever.
How do we get it?
I hope not.
No, I haven't. No.
Not forever, no. You know, I give myself 10 years because
Krishnamurti died very soon around what he said he would, didn't he? What did he say?
How long did he say that the
the
Krishnamurti?
moment I stop talking, he
That's
said
right.
he would go.
Yeah.
So that applies in a different way to me. The moment I stop traveling, that would be the end
Yeah,
of me.
I think so too, Eugene.
Do you
You have to
think
keep
that?
traveling. Yeah, he has to travel.
Why?
I don't know.
A habit.
Is that
Condition.
right? Is that true?
What?
Habit.
Habit is
The
not.
minute he
true.
arrives in a town, he immediately
The first thing I
makes his
do-
preparations for departure.
Now I'm already asking people there.
Already out of
Make
there.
the arrangements.
To get out of India.
India now.
A place with a cave or... What is this feeling of wanting to not move then? Or to have some place which is...
I don't know, I'm not myself very clear about it.
No, I can hear that.
See, the problem is where, you know.
Oh,
People
yeah,
always
it's
ask
where
me
you are.
where people always ask me on the television, you have traveled so much, which do you like
Did you
most?
ever meet
What
that
kind-
woman Long Necker?
No.
No, she comes San Diego.
Yeah, I don't have any particular feeling for India.
No.
I don't care for America.
Yeah.
I'm not fond of Switzerland. Where I have spent so
How
much
about
time.
England, Eugene?
England, don't even mention that.
Okay, you're not fond of it.
No, it's too...
I'm indifferent to the
It's
rest
in
of the
trouble,
world.
yeah.
Indifferent to the rest of the world.
Oh, what about Australia?
So, Australia.
Looks like
Yes,
it's Australia.
I like this place for some reason. I feel very comfortable here. I don't know why.
Because Australia needs a few minds and a few beings that step clear through the pattern.
No, do you know the reason why?
Why?
Because we were made to believe, the occultists told us, that Australia is the land of larger hope.
What is
They
larger
built
hope?
said that, yes, land of
That-
larger hope. That's how they built this great center there in the Harbour
Oh,
area.
yes, yeah.
What do they call it now? They have a name for that center.
Balmoral?
Huh?
No. You mean the place
The
in Balmoral?
Theosophical center there.
Very hard to look objectively at where
Yeah.
you live yourself because obviously you're tuned to where you live and what's happening. That's
I don't know.
kind of
Everybody in
racist.
my family, both on father's side and mother's side, died in their mid-80s.
Mid-80s.
They didn't suffer much, except my grandmother.
Yeah.
She died in her 96th year.
Usually you're going to live a long
You can-
time.
I
You
think
have
you
no
do-
stress.
I don't think I will live
And
that.
also, yeah,
What for?
what would you...
I have done enough mischief.
It doesn't
Yes,
look as if
but then
it's
enough
around for a
mischief.
while.
But that bit of fun.
I think so. He hasn't done his
I
mischief
have done
yet.
enough mischief in this
No,
world.
not yet.
Which is the pointing finger, you
That's
know.
the one thing that I have never had in my life.
I know,
ambition.
I've heard that, and as a matter of the little
The
I know,
only
yeah, that's
ambition
true.
I had in my life was, you know, what? All the spiritual teachers were con men,
Yes,
phonies.
that's right.
They fooled themselves and fooled the whole of mankind. You know, that's all. I must find out the answer. Not these teachers around me. You forget about all that.
Yep.
The source itself is false.
Right.
You know. So that certainty which I have that Buddha was a con man and he conned himself and conned the whole of mankind is something which cannot be transmitted to anybody. It does not mean that I tell myself you have discovered that you are the one and the only one. Not at all. I am the one in whom all these things are rolled into one. Not at all.
Yeah, well,
You know, for the first time in the history
Yeah.
of mankind, he introduced the element of proselytization, converting people.
Yeah.
Created a sangha. In his own lifetime, he
He's
did
Sangha,
it.
that's right.
He did that, and everybody else after him, Jesus followed it, and Muhammad followed that, and they created all these structures. See?
But the one that points the way, it's the one that admonishes somebody. I think you don't admonish with a little finger.
I say so, it is so.
I say so, and it is so. Now listen to me, and the whole of that thing lies in this finger, and all these lines go into it. These,
Yeah.
the ones out of your fate line, the ones out of your headline, are going towards that finger. I've never seen that before.
I don't know. Nobody has seen that. Everybody talks about these things, all palmists. Every
No, but most
palmist,
palmists are talking out
every
of what they've
palmist
learned.
in this world, every astrologer in this world has studied my palm and then my chart.
Yep.
are you not bored? How can I be bored? I don't find anything more interesting, more meaningful, more purposeful to do than what I am doing in that given situation, that's all. So I can't be bored.
And that can be anything at all.
From frame to frame,
From frame
just
to
the way this is functioning, the body. Huh?
Say when you eat breakfast, how do you eat
I
breakfast
don't-
differently from me?
No, same thing I eat. I don't tell myself that I'm eating breakfast, that I'm eating porridge.
Oh, these cornflakes aren't very good. Or
I don't care. The more preservatives they have in the food, the greater is the chance of preserving this body. The cream you brought, that's for a battalion we have there. Too much for me.
Well, you see, we can't eat.
Sinners go exactly the same way.
Yes, there's a sort
The
of myth
physical
that
body-
they don't, isn't there?
Huh?
There's a myth that they don't feel
That
the
they
pain.
don't, yes. Now it has become fashionable. You see, cancer is the fashionable disease for all the saints in our midst. Huh?
I haven't heard of that one.
Oh, Ramakrishna died of
No,
cancer.
Krishnamurti died of cancer,
Yeah.
and Ramana Maharshi died of cancer,
Yeah.
and that man there in Bombay who wrote that book,
Nisargadatta.
Oh, Nisargadatta
died of cancer.
Yes.
That's why I'm asking my friends, should I die of any other disease? See that my death certificate carries because of my death cancer, otherwise
Yes.
I would not be recognized by posterity as a religious teacher. Not that I want people to recognize me as a religious teacher.
Feel pleasure. What about sex? Sexual feeling.
Sexual plea. You see, that's also part of the pleasure moment. You see, it is a simple biological functioning of the body. It has become possible for the humans, if I may use that word, to have sex at any time we want, only through the help of thought. So when once you turn that into a pleasure moment, we have created the problem there. See, I'm not saying anything against pleasure. As far as I'm concerned, denial of sex for any reason, for spiritual reason, or indulgence in sex is totally unrelated to their spiritual pursuit. That's all that I'm saying. You know, it's a biological, sex. You see, in a situation like this, the whole hormones have undergone a very strange